Here I was, about to execute this poor bastard like some dime store angel of death. And I realized they were correct. I wouldn't know right from wrong if one of them was helping the poor and the other was banging my sister.
Welcome to the first episode of Versus Mode, where we take two video game characters and we see who would win in a battle to the death. Tonight to narrate our Clash of the Titans is myself, Shane Bior, gamertag Max Shane.
Then there's Tim Bushy, gamertag Gandalf the Tim.
My name is John Lucier, gamertag The Burlap Stack.
After the sack comes the blend, the analgesic blend, Aaron Fideo.
I'm Alex Newport, aka The Walking Dead.
Alright, and the two we have battling out tonight are, of course, Max Payne and Marcus Fenix of Max Payne series and Gears of War. So, many people might see this as a strange matchup that would probably never really happen in any conventional sort. But I think it's pretty
different dimensions.
Completely different dimensions, but you know what? We're going to just go ahead and say, hell with the rules. Who cares? We put them together.
Yeah. This is a game where the points don't matter.
It's a game where the points don't matter. And
that show is great.
Drew Carey couldn't join us tonight.
Yeah,
But,
we couldn't get him as a special guest.
I wrote Rain Brady, but yeah, all I got was a cease and desist order. So,
Nice. Drinking water and went down the wrong tube.
there you go, and we have a drowning victim. So,
Hell of an update, thank you.
thanks for the update. Alright, so, Marcus Fenix, obviously, I think no one here would argue that is significantly more jacked than Max Payne is.
Yep.
But, I don't think it's going to matter. I think that Max's addiction to painkillers and addiction to alcohol is probably going to raise his pain tolerance quite a bit, hence the name Max Payne. Who, I don't know if his parents were expecting this of him, but ironically named him.
I guess I'll start. I'm gonna say here that Max Payne and Marcus Fenix are both completely different in all respects. I mean, take a look at Max Payne, for example. He's kind of a scrawny white dude who's drunk and high on pain meds and completely out of his mind 90% of the time, who also inevitably gets everyone killed around him. While Marcus Fenix, who also gets everyone killed around him, is significantly more toned than Max Payne. He's got armor, he's got a freaking chainsaw, but when it comes down to it, I don't think it matters because not even a chainsaw is going to slow down Max Payne when he hits his bullet time.
I agree with that. I think ultimately we could just cut this podcast loose and just say Max Payne was in charge of protecting Marcus Fenix and get him killed, and it'd be the game over. But
Couldn't it be vice versa though?
I don't know, but would you really count bullet time? Because in all honesty, if you thought about it in like reality, bullet time wouldn't really exist.
bullet time would exist though because it's pretty much Max Payne's thing. Bullet time isn't necessarily. It gets
high on crank, so everything.
It gets confused. Yeah, it gets confused as like the concept of the Matrix is something like, oh well, that's just a feature in the game.
Slow it down.
Pretty much, the bullet time is kind of like an explanation as to some of the benefits he has from just being so out of it. Because I mean, the thing that you kind of lose sight of with Max Payne throughout the games, and pretty much the giant tragedy. That's kind of where I believe Aaron and I were when we kind of thought of this matchup. I mean, it may be accidental, but it does have a pretty good narrative to the fight, is that these guys are both, like, both of their stories are tragedies, you know what I mean? Like, these are both guys who have lost a lot, continue to lose. No matter how much they try, they keep losing kind of thing. But Max wasn't a bad cop. He's not a bad cop. He's actually a really good cop. But he's only good at self-preservation because of his vices. He's not good because he doesn't... He's good at focusing on what's immediately in front of him, what his problems are. I mean, you see that throughout the games. It's not necessarily just the bullet time. because there's moments where he's put in like fight or flight moments that he reacts perfectly to because he's just a really good cop. But when it comes to thinking of other people around him and thinking about how to protect them, he's not the best at it. I mean, a good example of that is at the beginning of Max Payne 3, at the party, when he does like his dive off the balcony and like shoots the guy holding Fabiana hostage. Kind of like a reflex he has, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
but still, I was just referring to the bullet time in general. I mean, it slows down when you use it, but in real life, it's basically just him picking his shots, right?
Well,
I was just saying.
if you want to talk about reality, we can talk about a chainsaw and a machine gun.
But you could actually put those together. It can happen. As bullet time, it slows down time for him to pick his shots and make them count. But
right,
that's
but
what
we're
I was
talking about
asking
it's one of his attributes. It's like you can't be like, oh well, we're talking about Flash Gordon and you know he can run fast, so it makes the road go slow. But in reality, the world isn't going slow. Like, no, Max Payne's ability is that he's really
quicker.
Yeah, he's quicker. He's just faster.
that's what I asked though. After I was like, is it?
So it means like if I see it, if Max Payne was to breach in a room, and Marcus Fenix wasn't 100% prepared for it, he would have that whole room down before they even knew it. So he could clear out a whole COG team if he wanted to. It's a matter of Max has the tactical ground and is fast enough to pull it off.
And I do want to point out that Carmine would be the first to die.
Yeah,
that's what. Like if we were to like Deadliest Warrior this at the end, you know what I mean? Like do the simulation. That's how it would start. Like it would start like both of them walking through the woods.
Carmine's like, my gun's jammed.
Carmine would just go. And you get shot, and they'd be like, oh, and then like they would both run, and then like we'd watch how it like works out. But Carmine would definitely be the first guy to get shot in the head.
Yeah. But then again, like you know, Max Payne does take down a lot of guys, but Marcus and his little group of 3 took out an entire army of locusts.
Who does say if he had Max Payne, he couldn't have done, you know? I mean, Max Payne took out a whole terrorist organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcus didn't do anything. I mean, he only saved the world.
Here we go. But now, say Max Payne doesn't have his painkillers.
He always has his painkillers.
I know, but say if he gets shot and he didn't have his painkillers, then what?
Then he finds painkillers.
Marcus Fenix gets shot without his armor.
Yeah, you're stripping. We're talking about. If you were to take Max Payne, just teleport him into a room as is and how he is and how he performs.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't fight each other right off. I'm pretty sure they'd be like, "Who the fuck are you?" Both of them.
Tim,
if they're thrown in the same fucking room, I don't think they're gonna kill each other right off the bat. I'm pretty sure they're gonna wonder what the fuck's going on.
Tim,
that's just a little twist.
You're asking to be hurt right now.
I guess what is so special about Marcus Fenix?
Nothing.
Well, he's got a badass scar on his face.
He's served in many wars.
It shows that he's battle ready. He knows his stuff. He's definitely been through a lot of combat, more than Max. I don't know. Max has taken on a lot of people, whereas Marcus has, well, they go through a story a little bit, but they don't go as much as they do with Max.
Max Payne. I mean, like, basically all you figure out about Marcus is that he was like he was like 18 to 20 when they started up the Pendulum Wars, and then he's thrown into prison for 20 years later for trying to save his little daddy. Then so he gets thrown into prison for 20
is
20
obvious
years.
about Max is that Max has nothing to lose. That's kind of like his demeanor, and that's kind of why he is such a risk taker that like he does in the games.
But
Marcus not so much.
If you really think about it. In the first game, yeah, dude, he thinks he has nothing left to lose. Like because he thinks his dad's dead at the end of the first one.
Well, he's still got Dom.
Right.
Yeah.
He still follows the orders. I mean, he still has the COG army.
Yeah.
Like I see that. It depends. Like ideally, you would probably see like Max Payne probably in Marcus's world. Because that's the kind of the way I see that would go down, because it just would be it'd be more of a fish out of water for Marcus to be like in today's world. Like I say, like Max Payne gets teleported into the future.
Into their world.
Yeah, he's
Right.
gonna be so drunk, high off painkillers that he won't know the difference anyways.
Exactly. There it was. All these guys with chainsaws running around.
I woke up in
You know, the thing is
Tijuana again.
But well, he's gonna, you know, like. The guns are specifically made to kill the locust, and then like he doesn't know anything about the lambent, so he'd probably shoot something that's glowing and not understand that it might explode and kill him. So.
But this isn't Max versus the Ticker, is it's Max?
No, I'm saying, but if he was teleported into the universe, because your guys are saying that Marcus would probably stick out like a sore thumb, and you know, if he went to Max Payne's world, but if Max Payne went to Marcus's world, it'd be the exact same thing.
He'd be no different than an unprotected civilian with a gun. I mean, they still use pistols. I think Marcus's 1911s would still kill him just as fast as a bolt-hawk pistol. It's the same thing.
You mean Max Payne's 1911s? You just said Marcus's.
Sorry, Max Payne's 1911.
There you go. So that's the only thing, I mean, between these two, when we argue about it, in all honesty, if you really think about it, these guys are, like you said, insanely different matches up, so it's going to be hard, because I bet you anything, like, once you post a video, you're going to have fans that are going to say Max Payne all the way, then you're going to have other fans that are going to say Marcus Fenix, and then they're going to tell you why.
Right, but we're not asking them right now, we're asking you.
Well, shit, I
They're
don't know. I
not
didn't play
that
Max
different.
Payne.
The settings are different, yeah, but the characters are a lot alike. Yeah, sure, their attributes are different, but their stories are relatively the same. They've both lost an immense amount.
But you guys,
whereas
but you already
Marcus,
stated.
he's been given, you know, quote unquote, a second chance with the COG Army and Emergence Day, and he's got Dom, and he's got the Army, and he's got, you know, the world on his shoulders, so he's got something to fight for, and he's got a reason not to lose. Whereas Max, he's kind of just living day by day, and he couldn't tell you why he's alive.
By the end of the third one, he's literally alone in the middle of South America. He's got no one.
Just drinking.
He's got alcohol. That's pretty much his only friend.
His only friend.
So,
you can drink a healthy dose of me!
With that said, I think Marcus might actually win in a standoff against Max, just because Marcus has got something to lose. And he's going to fight that much harder to keep it.
His woman at the end of the third game. Fight for her.
So, if someone were to see Marcus get the best of Max, how do you see that going down?
Say Max is walking around a corner. Now, Marcus looks over the corner, he's like, oh shit, he's right there. Walks up, chainsaw, brain.
No, that wouldn't happen. See, the thing is with Max...
You just said, how would he get the drop on him?
Right, but let me counter you and tell you how it wouldn't work. This is how we're going to try and figure out how one would get the up on the other. And see, what would happen is...
Somebody will probably hear the chainsaw anyway.
He would get the bead, and then Max would dive out of the way, as he's prone to do, and then he'd be hidden behind a wall or something, ready to go. And that's how you dive from Max.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, say he's walking down the corridor, he's not even halfway down it, there's no way he could possibly go. He's in a hallway, a slim hallway, is what I said, so...
Well,
yeah,
I mean, sure, you'd hear the chainsaw, of course, he'd probably be alert to that, and he'd probably try to get the fuck out the way. But...
Are you talking about Marcus catching with a chainsaw around the corner in a hallway?
Yeah.
I can 100% guarantee that Max will not get killed by a chainsaw.
Yeah, you're not touching him with a chainsaw. That is not.
But now, say Marcus uses the Hammer of Dawn on the building that he would be in. He would be completely unaware of what's going on, then a giant fucking laser comes down from the sky.
I think... But now you're giving him god weapons.
But it's still a weapon that he uses at his disposal.
I think a Lancer would do the job, because we know that Marcus is very well armored. And I
said that a little bit ago, and you guys said no.
No, we didn't. You said to take away Max's bullet time, and we said to take away his armor.
Yeah, you said take away his...
I didn't say take away the bullet time. I was just asking about the bullet time. I did not say take it away.
When you said you meant to take away his painkillers, but his painkillers provide his bullet time, too.
let me continue. So, With that said, Max has that much less of a chance of taking down Marcus in a straight shoot-off, making Marcus that much more resilient in a firefight. And I think when it came down to it, Max, being the risk-taker, would take a chance, and Marcus would outlast it. And he's got a fully automatic weapon. He's got a Lancer. That thing is ridiculous, and I don't think Max could last it.
I agree with you. If Marcus gets the range, if he puts Max outside of his effective range with pistols, you got it. But if it's close enough, I don't know. Do you think Max would expose himself that much?
Depends. You said it yourself. He's the risk taker.
Right. You'd have to get him at a range. I feel like that's the only way that the Lancer's going to get him. Because we'll give credit where credit's due. Hand to hand, Marcus is going to fucking mop Max up. There's no way Max would hold his own hand to hand. Like one slug from Marcus would probably put Max out. I mean, Max is by no way like a badass. He's just resilient. Like, he's hard to kill. Like, he's like the Punisher in a way, you know. Max's story is very similar to the Punisher, but it's not that he's a badass. It's just like you don't want Max to get the upper hand. Once Max has the upper hand, you're not going to get it back, kind of thing. Like,
really
Max
depends too. Like,
he's a strategist too, though. He's a risk taker, but he's a really good strategist. He's a very good.
When you guys say Marcus wasn't a risk taker, technically Marcus is a risk taker. I mean, he went down into the hive. He went underground just to find the locust, and so he does take risks.
He didn't have a choice.
No, he had a choice. Dude, he could have. He had the choice. He could have stayed in
jail.
He
had a choice. He even came up with a left trigger or right trigger.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying Marcus did take quite a few risks in the series. Like, they said, you can either rot in prison or you can come, and he, of course, came. Then when they said whatever, he was the one that wanted to go down and plant the bomb.
You act like rotting in prison or getting freedom is a choice.
Well, they did ask him, be like, "You want to come with us? Do you want to rot?" And of course, he said, "I'm gonna go
I want to rot in prison."
Yeah. end of Gears of War 1. But he could have totally chosen not to go underground with all the other soldiers, but he wanted to.
Yeah, but what other choice did he have?
He didn't have to go underground. He could have fought all the locusts up above still.
I'm pretty sure the command had issued that they went underground and attacked.
Yeah, but Marcus, I'm sure, could have still. I don't know. There's a lot of choices. Like, I mean,
Marcus isn't like a big thing. Marcus is just an average soldier.
Actually, he's a bit better than an average
like any other
soldier, actually.
Okay, he's an exceptional soldier, but he's still a soldier. He follows orders.
Right. Now, I feel like we should give Alex and John some time to talk, because they've kind of been quiet. So I'm going to give the floor over to Alex, and then John, or actually, no, John, you want to start? Then go.
Okay, sure. I don't know. It's hard to really tell because how very different the characters are. Marcus is more of a nimble kind of. What is he? He's an agent, right? Or freelance.
Max?
Yeah,
Max
is an cop. Ex-cop.
He's ex-cop. Yeah, he's basically a bodyguard up for hire right now.
So like it's really hard to tell because there's so many factors that could play out. Like as you said with like if Marcus punched him in the face, he'd probably have a few broken teeth and maybe a broken jaw. But at the same time, Max is really nimble. He might have a pretty good chance at dodging a lot of Marcus's blows. But I don't know, it's so hard. I think maybe at longer range where Max couldn't, hit him with his pistols. Maybe, depending on what gun Marcus has, is he using only his Lancer or...
Standard weapons, shotgun, Lancer, Boltok,
Yeah,
well,
like whatever
They do have sniper rifles, though.
No, alright, we'll clarify this for the rest of the podcast. That Marcus is getting your standard loadout. So like, say you run into a multiplayer game, like that's obviously the standard loadout. So yeah, you're getting the Nasher. We'll even give you the what is it's not a bolt talk. What's the standard of the snub? So you get the snub pistol, bolt snub pistol,
Lancer,
Nasher, and a Lancer. Yeah. We'll give Marcus his 30-30 and a set of 1911s.
You mean Max? You keep
Max,
saying Marcus.
Yeah,
Don't start with an M.
I think Shane just really wants Marcus to pull through this, but...
So basically, if you just have to ignore everything Shane just said. The only way that you can make this even close to a fair fight is you have a fully armored guy, take his armor away, okay? You got Max with a slow motion, take that away from him. Have a pistol, set him in a room together, and that's the only way that you can get it to be a fair fight. Once you put the armor on Marcus, he becomes this juggernaut. You give Max his pain pill, he becomes fast, and he has quick reflexes. So, if Max happens to get a pop shot on Marcus's head, he's dead. And then all Marcus needs to do is just hold down, and just suppress Max so he can't move at all.
He runs out of ammo.
When those two things happen, it's just instantly it happens to be a random occurrence that one of these two events happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if you had to chalk it up to a percentage of who would get the jump on the other, what would you say?
I feel honestly like Max would have the better chance of getting the drop on Marcus. Because Max is he's one of those people who are situational awareness is pretty much the only thing that keeps him alive. Whereas Marcus Marcus, he's almost, it sounds like he's almost
different characters.
He's almost
he's a brute.
only as he's a brute, and he's only as successful as he is because he's in a squad too.
Yeah, he has multiple people that...
Does anyone here really think Marcus would be alive as long as he has been if he didn't have Dom and everybody else with him?
He has
Marcus.
A lot of even the people that took the blows from him, in the first one when Anthony Carmine gets popped in the head by a sniper.
That wasn't he wasn't taking the rap.
If Marcus hadn't had any squad mates, he would be dead
up
right there. The look hit him.
No, they wouldn't have because he was down. The reason why Anthony got shot is because he stood up. No one else was standing.
They didn't throw snipers is the thing though. They had not.
They didn't know there were snipers there.
They knew that there was locusts with guns, so
somebody else probably would have eventually popped up.
A few shots. It wasn't until Anthony got his head blown off that they were like, shit, snipers.
You're saying that it's in a testament to his lack of situational awareness, he probably would have got killed if it was just him in that situation?
Yeah.
Well, if not, him, there'd only be one target for the locust to go after, so I mean,
I guess you can say maybe he got lucky and the locust missed. I don't know.
Well, that's not really what matters. We're just judging that his situational awareness doesn't match up to what Max.
But when it comes to other things, is later on, say when in number 2 he's fighting Scourge. He's got his awareness is pretty high because fucking beams fall and he knows right off the bat. And then when it comes to Scourge coming down with a chainsaw, he quickly throws up his gun. So that's a pretty decent situational awareness.
Oh, hold on.
Actually,
it's not his though. It's your situational awareness because in the narrative of Max Payne, there's plenty of times when you're just watching cinematics and watching the character have high situational awareness. Whereas you don't ever see that with Marcus. You see it because you're controlling Marcus. So I guess you can argue that that's partly Marcus's by proxy, but
he is an excellent soldier, and the things that stand out like that, and in combat, he is really aware of what's going on. He knows the battlefield. He's been around it. He's a veteran. But if he doesn't know that Max is coming for him or where Max is coming from, Max is going to take him out.
Yeah, so you're saying if there's a situation where Max knows he's got to kill Marcus, but Marcus doesn't know Max yet, he's going to kill him. Whereas the other way around, Max may still hear Marcus's big ass coming around the corner and then be like, "What's that?" I can see Max. I can see them in a building. Max hearing them, Max will hide to see what's going on. And then he'll see Marcus and he'll take him out. Like, even if he was the one, it's like I can just see Max being smart enough to like hear that and be like walking through here, and he'll just hear the commotion because Marcus and all of them are just soldiers. They'll be like moving boxes around, clearing the building, whereas Max isn't going to do that. Max is going to be very quiet.
Well, that depends, because toward the end of Max Payne 3, you see him get extremely reckless. He's just going on a warpath, and he's like being like, he's not being careful at all. He's just rushing through everything. Like when you're in that Jeep just like blowing up everything, you're just going crazy with that grenade launcher. He's not like focusing on anything. He kind of just loses his shit.
I'd just say that's based on what's going on in that story.
And also, then go back
I don't
to
think that's definitive of his character, though.
And then don't think about just number 3. Think about his fuck ups in like maybe in 1 and 2.
Do you know his fuck ups in 1 and 2, Tim?
That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I was just gonna say. But,
why are you bringing it up?
I counterpoint.
That's what I said earlier, though. I don't know too much about Max Payne, so.
I counterpoint what Alex said, though. I feel like that's isolated to the 3rd chapter of his story. You know, I don't know many times in the Max Payne story where he's just like blowing up buildings with grenade launchers. I mean, most of his fights took place in the back streets of New Jersey and New York.
Yeah.
So he's always had to be like really quiet. He's always operating inside the limits of like civilians around everywhere. I don't know. When it comes to CQB, I feel like Max is gonna just smoke Marcus.
Oh. Well, it depends. If Marcus is close enough, he's gonna knock fucking Max around.
Right, as long as it doesn't come down to hand, but if it comes down to like pistol range, that's Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus just doesn't have the speed to keep up with him. Have you ever tried to spin as Marcus? It's like turning a tank.
You know what? That's the thing too. You know, you got Max Payne in a suit, and you have Marcus in that freaking getup. Like he's gonna outmaneuver him all day.
But
and then
also,
you get this,
if you think about it, though, Marcus is a little bit more conservative with his energy, whereas Max would probably end up getting tired after a while because he's running around most of the time, running away.
As a kite.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're high on painkillers. Eventually, you get tired.
You're not really. When you're drunk and high up like that, you're not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm pooped." Especially, like, basically, Max at that point is just like super adrenaline. That's all he's got pumping through his blood.
Yeah, but it really all depends on how long the fight lasts, too, because, I mean, eventually, don't you think he's going to come down from his high, and...
This fight isn't going to last more than 10 minutes.
And if you had a bottle of painkillers, do you think they would not last you days?
It could, depends. I mean, you said he was addicted, you might just take him
OD after a while, though, like...
Yeah, you would OD after a while. Thank you, John.
If he did have a bottle, like, I mean...
In a game, he's not gonna OD, but in real life, he probably would
Marcus
OD.
doesn't have to be it. Maybe Marcus just has to outlast him.
Yeah, in the first 5 seconds, Max would have OD'd by now.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about real life. We're talking about the game.
I don't know. You guys were mentioning it earlier.
All right.
I feel like at this point we've established that in a close range, Marcus in a medium range, Max has got the win. In a long range, Marcus has the win again. So I guess it's all these fights that we're going to discuss in the future and now are all going to be basically situational. Like that's basically like how they're going to come across and how they're gonna react to each other and engage in the battle.
We should, maybe try to put more people kind of in the same category.
Yeah, they
like,
do.
I was thinking something maybe like an ODST soldier from Halo versus, I don't know, maybe.
Well, I mean, Shane already.
Well, we have other fights.
Shane's already got a couple lists, and their characters like also like wise, like their characters actually kind of mesh better together because they're they do the same occupation.
This is the most extreme difference we have, and that's why it's good though because it makes you think. It really has to be like. I feel like Max win. Max win.
I know you just. But the only thing is, Shane, you just barely said it yourself. If it was fist fighting, Marcus would
But
win.
Aaron-
If he said
but
long range,
Aaron-
Marcus would
but
win.
Aaron-
But Max
but
Payne
Aaron-
only had the middle.
But Aaron and I have been very specific about Max not putting himself in those situations. He's very good at not getting killed
But
for
here's
himself.
the thing. He's not going to be like, I want to get in this situation. What if it just happens?
It doesn't happen to him because it's like.
But what if it does, Shane?
It just doesn't happen. How many times has he been put in that situation? How many times has he been put in that situation and died? 0.
He's been
It
put in
really,
the
it really
quite
all
a few
depends on
times.
who's playing. It really all depends on who's playing as him.
How many?
No one, him. We're not playing video games.
Honestly,
Yeah.
the way I see this going down is Max is going to be sitting in a bar drinking. Marcus is going to come up and he's going to say something to Max. Max is going to go into bullet time, fall back with a fadeaway, and shoot Marcus in the face.
Okay, but then again, here we go. But when you guys just said that, it's not about the play thing. You guys mentioned it earlier about Gears of War being a play thing. Like, say, like, you know, I mean, you're technically controlling Marcus, but then again, with Max Payne, it's exactly the same thing. The player is controlling him.
Right, but what I'm saying is that there's examples throughout cinematics and narratives that Max is that kind of guy. Like, it's not just your control of him.
But if he's thrown into a random, like you said, it won't happen, but if he does somehow get thrown into one of those situational things, it could end up badly.
It could, but I'm saying it's a slim chance. Alright, we're basically, I feel like where we've gotten so far, besides the range,
Nowhere?
is that no, we've made some ground, because it's basically if Max gets put in that situation. But Max has a very high chance of never getting himself in that situation. It's like, in the 30% chance that Max is going to get put in that situation, he's dead. Whereas the 70% chance where Max is going to get the drop, he's always going to kill Marcus.
And within
Well, like
the
I
first
said, then again, this is
5
almost
seconds.
like, as I said right before we started this, it's almost going to be like a fan thing. Like, say, like, a lot of people are going to say Marcus Fenix, and, like, you guys are doing, Max. Like I said, it's mostly just a fan thing, like, whatever you really think.
I'm a fan of Marcus Fenix.
Yeah,
I don't want to see Marcus Phoenix
I don't
killed.
know, I mean,
We gave Marcus Fenix 2 out of 3 winning scenarios.
exactly, then you just
By all
down
rights,
saying that
by
Max
all
would
rights,
win.
Marcus. I'm just saying, yeah, but we're saying that what we're doing is we're kind of like, we're not even picking a side at this point. We're saying that 2 out of 3 scenarios where Max would die is like a 30% chance of happening. So it's like, it's a guaranteed win for Marcus.
But you don't know that. If they're actually
and-
pitted, you wouldn't know.
We'll never know because we're never going to see it. But what I'm saying is that in the 30% chance that Max gets put in those situations, he's going to die. But 70% chance that Max isn't going to get himself in those positions.
Dude, Marcus but the thing is, in other things, Marcus has gotten shot, and he has pulled
There's
through.
nothing special about Marcus.
There's nothing special about Max Payne.
What do you?
Marcus
He's an ex-cop. He's a hack.
He's a
He gets everybody around him. He gets everybody around him killed. There's
Not a
nothing
hack.
special about
He's
him,
a
though.
washed-up cop.
That's what a hack is to
No,
me.
Gene Hackman is the only hack that I know.
Gene Hackman.
Watch him out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care how dumb I sound. I'm just saying, though.
Marcus doesn't get everyone killed around him. What about Kim, Carmine's?
Kim died on his own cause. He wanted to go after Ram. Carmine stood up because he's a retard.
I think the only one that didn't die was like Barrett and Anya in
Yeah.
Cole. And that's
Barrett,
because they were Delta
Anya,
Squad.
Cole.
They weren't even in the same squad as
They
him.
were.
Later on.
Later on, yes. But Kim
Every
died
single one of his
because
original
he told
squad
everybody to
mates died.
run, and then Anthony died because he stood up, and then Carmine and then Benjamin died because he got
These
thrown
guys
into a
are
giant fucking
soldiers.
thing.
Haven't you ever heard of no one gets left behind? You don't do that.
Yeah, you don't do that. So if
The
anything,
Gears, they never
that
said
proves
that, though.
that he's a bad soldier. Not even not only is he a soldier, he's a bad soldier.
His soldier ethics are very low, and that's why I think he would lose.
But like I said, dude, sometimes you're probably gonna like end up like seeing a lot of comments, and they're gonna try to like, and they'll probably explain a whole bunch of shit about other things, like say like
Tim,
you know, one of
we
your
all
next
know
segments.
this. You're like analyzing the podcast from inside the podcast.
So now you're hyping up something that doesn't have any hype.
Well, in closing,
So have we reached a consensus? Can we like do like
Yeah,
a
that
raise of
Marcus
hands?
would win, right?
I feel like we're going to leave it up to the viewer to decide. We've both tried to prove our cases. We've stated our cases. It's
I
obvious
didn't know too much about Max Payne, so I couldn't really think about all the flaws.
No one really wins besides Max Payne, and
I mean, I agree Max Payne could definitely get the drop on Marcus, no doubt, but
that's
You
it.
know
I mean,
what it's all about?
it is all about that. I see it as a 70%. I'm calling it personally 70% chance Max Payne to win.
I have a 50% chance that you're right.
So 50% on 70%.
It's really all 50-50.
Kind of like Sexual Panther. It works 70% of the time, all the time.
Yeah. 67% of the time, it works every time.
There we go. Well, that concludes for this episode of Versus Mode, and you can go ahead and subscribe if you want to hear more, or leave a comment telling us who you think won. And until next time, I'm Shane Bior, a gamertag Max Shane.
Gandalf to Tim. Bushy.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and do all the other fun stuff because we love you.
And listen to people bitch about people saying like, comment, and subscribe.
And tell your friends that you know a guy whose gamertag is Burlap Sack.
Maybe you know
Send a
something
sack
about
to
Walking
the
Dead.
bush.
Shut up, Burlap Sack.
And give us money, because
money.
the website ain't free.
PayPal. Huh? Yeah,
Donations creatively affected. Oh fuck.
Don't forget, Shane, you gotta give everybody a little bit of a cut though.
Yeah, you guys aren't
I'll
getting
give you a cut.
Yeah, we're
I quit. Done.
You were never hired.
I was hired.
You're fired.